What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Military Miler, a show dedicated to helping military members and their families travel more often and more comfortably. My name's Tusi, and today we're talking all about how to earn a boatload of points when you go TDY. But before we get started, be sure to hit the follow button, leave us a 5-star rating, and a review wherever you are listening, and be sure to join our Military Milers Facebook group, where we post all of the big news, changes, and limited time offers in the points and miles world. And in that Facebook group, you can ask questions and get answers in real time. You can also join our email newsletter at militarytravelrewards.com/to-subscribe if you want to get the show notes right in your inbox every week. And you can message me. You can shoot me an email at podcast@militarytravelrewards.com or on Instagram at military miler. And if you've been listening to the show for a while, you'll know that we just finished the mini series on how to maximize the benefits of your Amex Platinum card. It is hands down the number one credit card for military members and their spouses, and easily the most popular card for sure, because you can get over $1,500 in benefits and credits every year with your Amex Platinum. So you and your spouse, if you're married and you have a spouse, both of you are going to want to get your own Platinum cards, because both of you will get your $695 annual fee waived for being active duty or the spouse of an active duty member. And that also applies to Guard and Reserve members on Title 10 orders. Seriously, this is a must-have card. So if you haven't listened to that series yet, go back and listen to the first 11 episodes of the show. And once you've listened to them, you can go to militarytravelrewards.com/guide to download the PDF guide that I put together as a comprehensive cheat sheet for how to maximize your Amex Platinum credits. And there's a bonus checklist in there so that you can mark off the credits and the benefits as you use them. If you use this checklist, then you are guaranteeing to get more than the $1,500 in benefits and credits every year, which will allow you to travel more often and more comfortably. Again, you can download that free Amex Platinum guide and checklist at militarytravelrewards.com/guide. All right, so to the main topic, how to earn a boatload of points and miles when you go TDY. So why does this matter even to me? Because I go TDY freaking all the time. So I know I'm not alone in this, but it can be tiring traveling a lot for work. I know there are plenty of military members out there who go TDY a ton. In just the last 2.5 years, I added it up. I've gone TDY 8 times for a total of 10 months in the last 2.5 years. And 6 of those 8 trips have been transatlantic trips. So I'm stationed in Italy. That's me going back to the States and coming back often to the West Coast. So crossing 8 or 9 time zones. Sometimes going TDY can be more like going on a vacation, but a lot of times you just get off the plane and you head straight to work. This totally applies to anyone who travels, anyone who's a civilian or a spouse who travels a lot for work as well, just replacing the word TDY with just travel for work. And so sometimes you can get really bogged down when you go TDY if it's a lot of work, or if you've been given a lot of the extra duties that you normally don't have back home because you're filling kind of more than one seat at a time when you're TDY. So you have all of that work stress, but not to mention that if you have a family and you're spending weeks or months away from your husband or your wife and your kids, you might be missing birthdays, anniversaries, your baby's first Christmas, and more. And even if you're not deploying to a combat zone and you're just going TDY for another school, a course, tech school, an exercise, etc., being away from home and your family takes its toll. And while you can't use points and miles to cancel your TDY, you can definitely use points and miles to make the most of your TDY. I know if my wife could use our points and miles to cancel my TDYs, she probably would, but she can't. So we do our best to maximize all of the TDYs that I go on to make sure that at least we're going to get hundreds, if not thousands, and often thousands of dollars in benefits and credits and in points and miles from these TDYs. So there are 2 different ways to make the most of your TDY travel with points and miles if you're in the military. And again, this applies to civilians who travel a lot for work too. And so when I just say TDY, you just plug in work travel. So the first way is to earn a whole bunch of points and miles while you're on your TDY. And the other way is to use your points and miles to upgrade your TDY travel. So in this episode, we're going to talk about using your TDY travel to earn a boatload of points and miles. And then in a future episode, we're going to talk about how to use your points and miles to upgrade the travel that you already have for work. So if you have to go TDY a lot, or you're a civilian and you travel a lot for work, you have a huge opportunity to earn a boatload of miles. And I mean, like, obviously it's going to depend on the cost of your TDY, the size and the scope and the length of your TDY, but like sometimes it is a huge opportunity. Now, to be clear, going TDY is also a great opportunity for you to save money. So I don't recommend spending all of your per diem. Definitely not. I recommend that you save as much per diem as you can, but also remember that you're given that per diem for a reason. Sometimes you might go TDY for a long time and you might not get like any per diem because the Air Force thinks that you can live off of $20 a day eating at the DFAC, which is usually more expensive than that. So sometimes it may not work out in your favor, but other times you will be getting paid, full per diem wherever you go. So if you can, it's definitely worth it to save some money. Definitely if you're working towards building up an emergency fund or trying to kickstart contributions to your Roth IRA or something like that, this is definitely a huge opportunity for that, first and foremost. But you are going to be spending money while you're TDY. And all of that money that you spend is money that you are getting reimbursed. So you might as well put it on a credit card that's going to earn some points because it's all money that's getting paid back to you. So it's a way for you to get free points. So how does it work? First, if you want to earn a bunch of points and miles, the very first thing you need to do is to create an account with whatever hotel or airline loyalty programs that you frequently use. This is how you're going to earn the most points the fastest. At a very base level, just with your TDY travel, not maximizing credit card spend or anything like that. Just going on your TDY and coming back from your TDY. Even if you spent $0 on your TDY and the government just paid for your hotel and your airline, if you create a loyalty account with the hotels and the airlines that you use most frequently, you are going to earn a ton of points and a ton of miles. Even if you don't normally use a certain chain, like you don't really use IHG or you don't really use Hilton or whatever, at least create an account for it just before you go to the TDY. So if you know that you're going to be staying at a certain Marriott hotel and you're going to be flying American Airlines, make sure you create a free Marriott account and a free American Airlines account before you go. Then the second thing you're going to do is to add your loyalty number to your reservations ahead of time. And then in parentheses, then double check at the counter when you check in that your loyalty number is actually on the account. So if you book your travel in DTS, the Defense Travel System, which is the military's, system for booking travel, you can actually load your loyalty numbers to your profile. If you just go up to the profile, you can add loyalty numbers, rental car numbers, hotel numbers, airline numbers. You can enter all those numbers right there. And then you can also, like, while you're booking it, if you're booking a room or you're booking a flight, there will be a little box that will ask you to enter your frequent flyer number or your hotel loyalty number or your rental car loyalty number. It'll be a drop down, so you can just click on it and drop down and pick whichever loyalty number is the one that you use. Like it'll say, Delta number and then the number, or Hilton number and then the number. So you can just use the drop down and select that, or there's also an add a new number button right there. So you can just click add a new number and you'll be good to go. So you'll want to put that in so that it stays on your DTS reservation. However, it has happened many times where I've gone to the check-in desk at the airport or the hotel or the rental car company, and my loyalty number is not on the account for whatever reason. It happens. Not a big deal. You just, when you get to the account as they're checking you in, just say, hey, is my loyalty number on this reservation? And sometimes they'll say yes, and sometimes they'll say no. Can you give it to me? And then you can read it off to them. I highly recommend using a password management software just for password security in general, but it's also a great place for you to store all of your loyalty numbers if you just don't have them, readily available. Some people will also actually write all of their loyalty numbers on an index card. They'll cut it up and maybe tape it over or whatever and keep it in their wallet so that they have all their loyalty numbers together. You may think that's kind of crazy. You don't need to do that, but just definitely have that number on you when you go to check in, wherever it is you're checking in. And I would recommend keeping, if you're just going to keep your loyalty number, you could just keep it in a note. But if you're going to keep it, more secure with all your password and your login information, then definitely a password management software like 1Password or LastPass or something else. Now the joint travel regulation, that's the reg that governs DoD and DOS travel, Department of Defense and Department of State travel. And it states that as long as it doesn't cost the DoD or the DOS more money, you are able to keep all of the miles and all of the points that you accrue during your government travel. They are yours to keep, and you may use them on any personal travel or whatever travel it is that you desire. You can also use those points and miles to upgrade your government booked travel as well, which we'll talk about in one of these next episodes. But again, it can't cost the DoD or the DOS more money than they would have paid otherwise. So if you, on the legal side, like you are free to keep all your points and miles. So no need to worry about that. Now, if you don't create an account with a hotel chain or with an airline program, when you fly or when you stay at the hotel, you're not going to earn any points on your stay. You're not going to earn any elite night credits, no miles, no nothing. But here's an example. We're staying at a Hyatt right now for this TDY in the UK. If for everyone who didn't create an account, they're not earning any points. But if you just go on and you create a free Hyatt account and you just add your Hyatt number to your reservation, you'll earn 5 points per dollar on the stay, even if the military is paying for it. So in this case, we've been here a long time. We're going to be here for a long time. The stay is going to cost about $10,000. So if the stay costs $10,000 and you don't have a Hyatt account, you're getting 0 Hyatt points, 0. But if you create an account and then you link that account to the stay, even though it's the military that's paying for the stay, you're going to get 5 points per dollar. So if it costs $10,000, you're going to be getting 50,000 Hyatt points. And 50,000 Hyatt points is a lot of Hyatt points. Like just 5,000 Hyatt points can get you, and that's enough points to stay at any Category 1 Hyatt hotel around the world. And that usually will cost, that would normally cost like $100 or $150 a night. And that's just for 5,000 points. We're talking 10 times that amount. 50,000 points. Right now, there's a Park Hyatt in Vienna, Austria, where you plan on staying at in the future, and they have a suite, this really beautiful suite that costs about 50,000 points per night. That suite would normally cost you $1,800 a night, like so much more expensive. I mean, it's just insane. 50,000 points is a ton of points. Now, I would say most of your TDYs, you're not going to be earning quite that many points just by staying at the hotel, just those base points that you earn just for showing up and linking your account. But this is just an example of how crazy the difference can be if you don't link your account. So create an account and link it. When we were actually driving in the car from the rental car place to the hotel, I asked all the dudes in the car, I was like, hey, do you guys have Hyatt accounts? And 3 of the guys said yes, and 1 of the guys said no. Or there are only 3 dudes. 2 dudes said yes, 1 guy said no. And I was like, dude, you need to create an account. Like, you need to create a Hyatt account, hop on your phone, create it right now, and give them your loyalty number when you show up. The other 2 dudes, they had gone TDY like this before, actually here to the UK, but they had stayed at a Hilton last time. And so they had created Hilton accounts. They had gone and they earned Hilton Diamond status just by staying at the Hilton the whole time they were here. And they were like, dude, we got so many points and like got all these benefits and like free nights and stuff. So like, yeah, we definitely have Hyatt accounts and we're going to do this again. And I was like, sweet, awesome. Yeah, to the other dude, make sure you create your account. Listen to these dudes. You want to get all of those points and miles. Now, the third way that you can rack up a bunch of points is by putting as much of the TDY spend on your personal credit cards as you possibly can, and you will rack up the points. So if you booked your flights in DTS, you did all your travel in DTS, those flights will automatically charge to your government travel card issued by Citibank. But your DTS itineraries, when you actually get your tickets, your itinerary will say that your car and hotel reservations must be paid at the time of check-in with a major credit card. And now you're supposed to put all your official travel expenses on your GTC. But sometimes your GTC doesn't work. Sometimes you forget your GTC. Sometimes you forget to use your GTC, or you forget that your GTC is still in the special leather folder that you have in the top drawer back at home that holds all of your sock drawer credit cards, and you didn't bring it on your TDY with you. If that happens, you can put your spend on your personal credit cards. When you go to file your voucher, you'll just need to include a bank statement for that credit card. Just like you would with your GTC, with your Citibank, with your Citi card, like you'll still have to produce a bank statement with your voucher. Same thing, whether it's a Chase card, an Amex card, whatever. You're just gonna print a bank statement and include it with the receipt that you get from the hotel or from the rental car company, and you'll go ahead and link that in your voucher. Now, when you go to submit your voucher at the end, so at the end, if you for any expenses that you chose to reimburse to your GTC, or that you chose to reimburse to your GTC, you're not going to have any issues in reviewing your authorization. But all of the expenses that you could put on a GTC that you perhaps didn't because you forgot to use your GTC, then it'll ask you if you want to reimburse those expenses to your GTC or to your personal account. You can, if you put your GTC, it won't ask you any other questions. That'll be it. If you put your personal account, then at the end, it'll ask you to justify why you put that expense on your personal card instead of your GTC, because per the JTR, you are supposed to put all official travel expenses on your GTC. So you can choose to deal with those justification boxes and reimburse these expenses to your personal card, or you can choose to reimburse all of your expenses to your GTC, regardless of whether or not you actually used your GTC for that purchase for whatever reason. I usually put in, if I do have to fill out those justification boxes at the end, I'll usually just put that I had issues with my GTC, because I usually had issues with my GTC, be them physical or otherwise. I've never had any problems with it. However, you could just reimburse it to your GTC, not have to fill out any of those justification boxes. And then when your voucher gets paid out, what'll happen is you'll end up getting most of your expenses just reimbursed to your GTC instead of your personal account, even though you put a bunch of stuff on your personal card, and you'll end up with a positive credit on your GTC. But when you log into Citibank, there will be a button right there underneath the amount. That's the amount of the credit that's on your card. And it'll say request refund. And you just click that button and you can request to have all that money that's, now added to your card. You can have all that money just sent to your personal account. So here's an example of kind of how that works, because a lot of people don't know this. Let's say I go TDY and my flights cost $1,000, and those flights will charge directly to my GTC. They are right on my GTC. When I log into Citibank, it'll show $1,000 to, we'll say, American Airlines. Then when I show up to the TDY, the rental car costs another $1,000, and the hotel costs $2,000. But my GTC didn't get charged ahead of time like the flights do, because it says in the itinerary that the rental car costs and hotel charges, they must be paid with any major credit card. And it just so happened that my GTC was not working. So I put those expenses on a personal card instead, and I chose a card that earns some points for travel, like for hotels or for rental cars, those code as travel. So there's $1,000 on my GTC, and now $3,000 on my personal card. Again, that's $1,000 for the rental car, $2,000 for the hotel. So $1,000 on my GTC, $3,000 on my personal card. And then let's say the total per diem comes out to be $1,000. So I've got $1,000 in flights, $1,000 in rental car, $2,000 in hotels, and $1,000 in per diem. That means the total TDY cost is going to be $5,000. When I submit my voucher at the end, it should pay out $5,000. When I file, the per diem will just automatically go to my personal bank account. I'll get $1,000 in my personal bank account. But the flights, the hotel, and the rental car, they'll all ask me to include receipts, and then they will ask me if I want to reimburse those expenses to my GTC or to my personal card. Now, I decide that I want to simplify my voucher and not deal with all those justification boxes of, at the end of my voucher. And so I just say reimburse it all to my GTC. No issues. When my voucher gets approved, the $1,000 of per diem money, like I said, will go to my personal account. But the $4,000 for the rest of the TDY will reimburse to my GTC. And again, that $4,000 is $1,000 in flights, $1,000 in rental cars, and $2,000 in hotels. But remember, the only charge I actually put on my GTC was the $1,000 in flights, but $4,000 reimbursed to the GTC. That means I have $3,000 in credits on my GTC. So now when I log into Citibank, right there underneath the amount, it'll say in parentheses $3,000. There will be a button that says request refund. You just click that button, and that $3,000 will refund to your personal account in 3 to 5 business days. It's super awesome, really convenient. I first learned about this just when I was filling out vouchers, and there was some gas I forgot to put on a GTC. There was some I think there were some like tolls or road tax stuff, or I can't remember. But there were just a few things that I didn't put on my GTC. I just pulled up my credit card, used them, but then when it paid out more to my GTC than I actually had. And there's just a button right there that says request refund. And since then, I have done it on every single TDY that I've ever been on, and it is awesome. It is super duper awesome. It's a way to earn a bunch of points and then have all that money get sent right back to your personal account with no issues, and you save your RAs, your approving officials and stuff, a bunch of headaches by, having 500 justifications at the end of your voucher. So definitely simplifies and streamlines things. So how do I earn a boatload of points with the credit card spend? How do I so I know that I can link my accounts, and if I link my loyalty accounts, then just by showing up and being there, I'm going to earn a bunch of points. But now you're saying I can put some of my spend on my credit card. So the question is, like, how intense do I get about this if I want to earn a boatload of points? So, and to be clear, like, some TDYs cost a couple $100, a few $100, depending on if you're driving or whatever, how many nights it is. Some can cost like $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. The one I'm on right now, I think it's going to be pushing close to $20,000. Like, depending on where you go and how long you're going to be there, your TDY could cost a lot of money. And what that means is you get reimbursed a lot of money, which means there's a huge opportunity right there. So I'm going to lay out 4 different intensity levels on how you can earn points on a TDY. And there are no issues with which intensity level you hear and you're like, yeah, I think that kind of sounds like me. That sounds like me. Zero judgment on where you fall. But this is generally kind of like the four different routes that you could take on how crazy you want to get with earning points and miles. And I'll let you guess where I fall in this. So we'll start with intensity level 1. And I don't know if anyone's listened or read the Cradle series, but we are deep in that series right now, listening on my commute to and from work. So we're gonna add some fun names here. So intensity level 1, we'll call it the copper stage. So intensity level 1, you just put all your travel expenses on your GTC, your flights, your hotels, your rental cars, etc. But then all the food, miscellaneous expenses that you have, you put them on a personal credit card. Maybe you put them on a Chase Freedom Unlimited card. Great credit card, earns 1.5 points per dollar on everything. You just put all your spend on your Chase Freedom Unlimited. You'll earn a few hundred points, maybe a couple thousand points on your TDY. You're not aiming to maximize. You're just aiming for a simple strategy, low effort, low stress, but you're still not missing out on points. Super awesome. Level 1, copper. Level 2, iron. Instead of using one single card on the whole TDY, you've got a couple. You bring your Amex Gold so that when you get your commissary sandwich at whatever base you're stationed at, or you go grocery shopping in the States, you want to get your 4x points per dollar. Awesome. You also bring your Chase Sapphire Reserve if you're going to go overseas, because it's a Visa card and it's accepted everywhere, whereas your Amex cards probably won't get accepted. And your Chase Sapphire Reserve earns 3x on travel and dining out worldwide. And maybe you know that you haven't used your $300 travel credit yet on the card, so you put your spend on that, and you're also going to get that $300 reimbursed. So you're pretty stoked about that. You also bring your Amex Platinum card so that you can get into the Centurion Lounge on the flights over and the flights back to wherever you're going TDY. So you show up, and you can maybe even bring in a guest if it's not a Centurion Lounge, but maybe one of the Priority Pass lounges. You bring in a guest, you guys get some food, and they're like, yo, what is this? This is pretty cool. I like doing this. Maybe you shoot them a referral link for your credit card, and then they open a credit card so they can do this next time. And you're having a good time. You grab a couple of drinks before you hop on your flight. Like, you've done this before. You are a seasoned vet. You make sure all your loyalty numbers are on all your reservations. In fact, if you know that you go TDY a lot, you just tend to stay at the same brand hotels or fly the same airline every time, because you just kind of like to keep your points in the same pool, like totally understand it. Maybe you've even earned, Delta Silver status or Delta Gold status while you've been traveling, because you go a lot. and you'll earn a few thousand points on this TDY. Maybe you'll get elite status with an airline or something, and you'll have the satisfaction that you earned 3 or 4x on everything instead of just 1.5x. And you racked up a bunch of hotel points and airline mileage that you can use in the future, and then maybe you plan to use in the future. That's level 2. That's iron. Like I said, there are four four intensity levels. So level 3, this is Jade. You're not playing around. You take a look at your authorization as you're building it, and you get a gauge for how much the hotels and the rental car is going to cost. And if it's going to be like $3,000 to $5,000 or more, you want to maximize it. So it looks like you're going to stay at a Hilton, which is good to know. You've got a few weeks before you leave, so you decide to open a new credit card. It will arrive in time for you to take it on the TDY. So maybe it's a Chase Sapphire Reserve. You've been eyeing that credit card, you want to get it, and you're going to get that 60,000 point sign up offer. Or maybe it's a business card that you've been eyeballing, maybe like a Chase Inc. Business Cash, which has a huge sign-up bonus. I think it's 90,000 points right now. Or maybe the Chase Inc. Business Preferred, which earns 3x on travel and has a 100,000 point sign-up bonus. And yeah, it earns 3x on travel, which includes hotels and rental cars, which you're going to be spending at. And maybe you even got lucky and this trip lines up with an elevated offer, like on the Hilton Aspire. You're staying at a Hilton on this TDY. You see that you've got a 175,000 point welcome offer on the Hilton Aspire, and so that lines up. You apply for the card. It shows up in the mail. When you show up to the hotel on your TDY, you're going to pay with your Hilton Aspire because you don't know what happened to your GTC, and you're not only going to earn the welcome offer within the first couple of weeks of your TDY, but you're also going to be earning 14 points per dollar by paying with your Hilton Aspire card, because the Hilton Aspire earns 14x at Hilton's. And so you're going to use that card at the Hilton. You're going to use it to pay for your hotel, for your rental car, for all your food purchases. And you are going to rack up the points. You're going to hit the minimum spend. You're going to get a massive welcome offer, over 175,000 points. By the time the TDY is over with all their earnings, you're probably looking at closer to 200,000 plus points. You had a massive earnings rate at 14x at the hotels. You hit the jackpot. And you only opened one new credit card for this 2 or 3 week TDY. But what if this is just the beginning? What if you are going to be TDY for 3 or 4 months? What if you get to choose what hotel you're staying at because they're all priced the same? Maybe there's not a whole bunch of you going, so you kind of have some leeway on your choices. What if you get to choose which airline you fly because they're all about the same price and you are going to be going TDY a good amount this year? What if you've got a couple months to prepare ahead of time? There's actually so much that we could talk about here that I'm actually going to save the level 4, the gold level. We're going to save that for the next episode, because there is so much to cram in here. We're going to talk about how to earn or how to build a master plan if you're trying to earn Hyatt Globalist status and what that could do for you over the course of the year. And Hyatt Globalist being the single most rewarding top tier elite status. We're going to talk about how to get your hotel rooms upgraded to suites. So while your buddies are cramming into tiny rooms, you've got the corner suite with the huge conference table in the middle. We're going to talk about how you can show up to your TDY in a Mustang GT for free, or maybe a brand new Challenger or a brand new Charger. Totally unnecessary, but you got the upgrade for free. So now you're going to drive that around for a couple months. And we'll even talk about how one time I went TDY to the middle of nowhere, Texas, and earned over 500,000 points just by going TDY. And I could have earned so many more points. If I knew what I know now, it would be a game changer. Well over 1 million points could have been earned, but here we are. So stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss it, but we'll talk about level 4 gold level. We'll talk about that in one of these next episodes so that this one doesn't go any longer than it already is. So now this is not points related, but perks for TDY travel that are kind of important to know, that are really going to upgrade your travel while you go. One of them is, if you can, get Clear Plus. There are plenty of credit cards that offer Clear. You get a Clear membership with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, with the Amex Platinum, the City Advantage Executive World Elite Card, the Amex Hilton Aspire, the Amex Green Card. They all offer free Clear Plus accounts. And that is a huge benefit. Go back and listen to episode 7 of this podcast, where we talk about how your Amex Platinum card comes with a Clear credit and the TSA PreCheck and the Global Entry. Go back and listen to that, and that'll explain a little bit more on how that works. And like I just said, you also have TSA PreCheck or global entry that comes with several credit cards. You're going to want to make sure that you've got your global entry. You'll already have TSA PreCheck by being a military member. You just put your DoD ID and that will get you PreCheck. But global entry, especially if you're stationed overseas, is a game changer. Absolute game changer. Saves hours and hours of time. You don't have to stand in the customs line when you go back to the States. Tons of cards offer global entry accounts: the Chase Sapphire Reserve, the Amex Platinum, the Amex Delta Reserve, the Amex Delta Platinum, the Chase United Club Infinite, Chase United Explorer, City Advantage Executive World Elite Card, the Amex Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant, the Southwest Business Card, and several others. You want global entry. And airport lounge access, that you can go back and listen to episode 10 of the podcast, and we'll talk all about the Amex Platinum's lounge access. But the Amex Platinum, the Chase Sapphire Reserve, and plenty other cards offer a ton of airport lounge access, and then rental car elite status. That's a huge benefit that I would say most military members don't know about. Maybe they know about airport lounge access, maybe they know about clear or global entry, but most of them don't know how to get their rental car elite status. And most of them have an Amex Platinum card and they just don't know how to link the two together. So go back and listen to episode 11 to learn about how to get your rental car elite status with Hertz, Avis, and National via your Amex Platinum card. And then just some final special notes for members stationed OCONUS. It can be hard to open Amex cards overseas because so many places don't accept Amex. So using it to earn a welcome offer, to meet the minimum spend to earn the welcome offer, it can be pretty hard. So if you are going TDY, especially if you're going TDY to the States, this is a great time to open some Amex cards, or to open any cards, lower tier cards that don't waive foreign transaction fees. That's a really important one. You can earn those welcome offers stateside as part of your travel. And then when you come back, you'll just stick that card right back in your sock drawer because you already hit the minimum spend. You already got the welcome offer. And now you don't have to use that card all that much. All right, so I think that wraps us up for today. So thank you everybody for hanging out with me on the Military Miler. If you'd like to get in touch with me, want advice on what your next card should be, or you just want to share your wins, join our new Military Milers Facebook group. Just post a question in there, or one of your travel wins, and I'll be sure to respond. You can also shoot me an email at podcast@militarytravelrewards.com or on Instagram at @militarymiler. And if you and your spouse don't already have the number 1 or number 2 credit cards for military members and their spouses, the Amex Platinum and Amex Gold, be sure to go to our website, militarytravelrewards.com, and sign up for them there. And if you're thinking about opening any other credit cards, you can find them all at militarytravelrewards.com. Just go to the top, best credit card offers for military members, and then you scroll down. There's several different categories: top 5, top 10, hotels, airlines, etc. Business cards too. And then right at the bottom, there's just all credit cards. You can go there and you can find whatever credit card you're looking for, and that is a way to really support the show. So thank you everybody, and I will see you guys on the next episode.